Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Howie Heckman. Today is a ClearStream RFID sneak peek webinar where we're going to show you some of the new features, live demonstration of the ClearStream 7.0 product and release. Here, I'm going to pass it over to Brad Horn, the CEO of Portable Technology Solutions. He's going to kind of go over just a brief overview of our ClearStream release and some of the new subscription options that we have, which is the main feature of ClearStream 7.0. And then we'll come back to me to kind of talk about the new features in 7.0, and I'll go through a live demonstration of those features. So with that, I'll kick it over to him.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. Really excited to be talking about ClearStream RFID 7.0 and what we have in store for the release when it comes out and what you guys are seeing. Almost 10 years ago, in March of 2012, we released ClearStream 1.0. And we released it with one purpose, and that was to make getting started with passive RFID really easy. We saw at the time it was very expensive, cumbersome to start up a passive RFID data collection system, and we released ClearStream as a middleware to do that, make it easy, no code, just like Tracer Plus, free trials, and really to lower the bar of entry for end users. And we've had a lot of success with that, and it's expanded quite a bit. We've picked up new technologies. We've moved into other types of RFID like HF and LF. We've added BLE around 3 or 4 years ago and seeing a lot of success as that market grows out. We add barcode technology, and we're supporting beacon technologies, the Eddystone and iBeacons. And we're looking at GPS as well, and we actually did a GPS release quietly around a few months ago, and that's something we can also talk about if anyone is interested in that. But 7.0 is doing some things that are going to make it a lot easier for us to adopt new manufacturers and new technologies through what we're calling our ClearStream Endpoint API. And we're really poised to make it simple for both manufacturers and other software providers to put us in as a middleware and start streaming data from these passive data collectors. With that being said, our pricing hasn't changed since 2012. It was put out there that a primary license was a $2,500 list, and each additional endpoint or reader was around $500. And as low as it sounded at the time, and still sounds pretty low to us, we still see small businesses maybe struggle with that price a little bit because they have to come up with a $2,500 budget. Is it worth the risk and such? And also, it's a little more cumbersome in the current model with a perpetual license to manage what your devices are. And since the release of subscription for Tracer Plus, our mobile data collection software, we've seen how the market has adopted and really gravitated to it. So with that being said, and just to get this out of the way, being like we always are, we're pretty transparent with our pricing. We're not your typical RFID solution where they tell you, well, we're not ready to talk pricing until we really feel like what you want to do and understand, then you get hit with that big number. We're a little different. So we are going to release ClearStream in a subscription model sometime mid next quarter, and Howie will go through that in a little more detail. And the pricing, we think, is going to make it extremely simple for anyone to put out a proof of concept to get started. So that monthly price at $100 is going to give you a lot of the features you see in that list, as well as our support and open offices to support you. And once you're ready to move on and buy that year-round license, we are starting at that $35 per month price. So, you buy a year contract, it's going to work out to be around $35 per month per reader. And of course, we can talk about volume if you get into numbers of readers and endpoints. Again, with that being said, I'll turn over to Howie, and he can get into the real fun stuff and show you what they've been up to. We're really excited. ClearStream 7.0 is going to make it very simple for end users and our reseller community to manage all sorts of different devices, stream data to all different locations in the PTS cloud. Howie, why don't you take it over?
Sure. Thanks, Brad. Okay, with that, let me jump over to the next slide here, which kind of just goes over some of the bigger features in ClearStream 7.0. Now, there's a bunch of other minor stuff that's in the release as well, but for the webinar today, I thought we'd go through some of the big stuff. Really, the biggest is the support for the subscription licensing model. It gives you a web interface that you can see your devices, manage your devices, move devices in and out of the subscription model that you're using, and also see the statuses of those devices. So one of the limitations, I'd say, in some of the previous versions of ClearStream were the support for seeing the current state of your whole system. Typically, you'd have to say RDP into the PC or server that's running ClearStream to kind of check on whether or not they're running. Maybe there's an error condition there. You could be notified by error conditions, but that interface for seeing the actual system in full didn't exist. There is an API that would offer the ability to get some of that information out of it, but with this ClearStream subscription portal through a website, you can go ahead and log in and see the status of all those readers, all those devices that you have. And it supports all of the devices out of the box with ClearStream. So it could be anything from fixed RFID readers to Bluetooth gateways to barcode scanning devices that we support within ClearStream. And you can see the status of all those devices and whether or not they're running, whether or not there's errors or stopped at that time. We've also added a new feature for grouping devices within ClearStream itself. So in previous versions of ClearStream, if you had a large installation of a large number of devices, say you had a facility with 50, 100 readers or something like that, each one of those devices needs to be manually configured in the software and then also manually mapped per device to a destination. With this new group concept, which was a highly requested feature from our users, you can add all of the devices to the configuration, group them in a single group, so say like warehouse 1, and then map that one warehouse 1 to the destination. So now you have all of these readers that are collecting all these readers or whatever devices you're using, collecting this information and sending it through one mapping to your database. So it really simplifies a large-scale deployment of ClearStream in the configuration side. And also, if you may need to make any adjustments to those mappings, it's done in one process. So you don't have to go through each reader. Say you have 100 readers, you don't have to go through and modify each one with that change. Finally, another option here, we have keyboard emulation now available. So this is good for things like a desktop type RFID scanner or barcode wedge scanner, something like that, where you want to have the data that's being collected by this passive device and just have it input into maybe some type of Windows form or something like that on your PC for scanning, kind of almost a workstation type feature. So that's a new destination that we've added as well to the software. So all of these devices can stream, and in that case, it's usually just one, but stream to a keyboard emulation where it's actually typing that data out. Now, I would like to note that this will be available as a free trial from our website at clearstreamrfid.com. As always, it'll be up there. You can download the software and use it. And that will be posted to the website when it's available. Right now, we're looking at mid-Q1 for the release of ClearStream 7.0. However, I would like to mention, for anybody that would like a beta of the application, please just reach out to us after the webinar today or when you are ready to take a look at the new features, and we can get you a beta build of ClearStream so that you can take a look at these new features as well. So just one quick slide here on the ClearStream subscription portal. So you saw that from the previous one, it's a screenshot of all of your devices. So it's a website that you can go into to manage all of your devices that you have configured within ClearStream and view the statuses of them. So you can see in the background here, I have a large number of devices from anything from Zebra devices. This is a FIG portal reader, FIG desktop reader here, Bluetooth gateways. Here's an Alien F800. So all of these different devices are visible within the portal and what their current state is, whether or not they're online scanning for tags, scanning for beacons, or you have the barcode reader online. And it's all quickly visible within the web portal, and you can see all of that activity. You can also add and remove those devices as necessary. So if you retire an old device or you replace a device in the environment with a new one, you can simply log into your web portal and replace it in that web portal by deactivating the old reader and activating the new one. You don't have to come back to us any longer with requests to transfer licenses from one device to another, or questions on how to retire devices and things like that. It's all managed by you through the ClearStream portal so that you can go ahead and take a look at, or you can manage all your readers and don't have to communicate with anybody on which ones you're swapping out. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and actually give a live demonstration of that. I'm really going to show you the web portal here. I'll touch on some of the other features in ClearStream as well. but I will jump out of this PowerPoint and kind of show you that. So I thought for the demonstration, what I would do is kind of start from scratch, acting as if I was a user of ClearStream that just signed up for an account, and I want to start adding my readers. So from my configuration here, or from the browser, I'm at the ClearStream website, and I can go ahead and log in. So I get my login credentials to my subscription portal, and I'm going to go ahead and select those and enter my password to log into the system. So now here you can see, just like you saw the screenshots, I'm logged in. This is maybe a new account because you can see I have no devices in this list here. The device list is empty. I haven't configured anything. However, I did purchase 12 licenses for my subscription. So I can go ahead now and add up to 12 devices into ClearStream and have them populated within this onboard portal to be active within the system. So I'm just going to move this over out of the way, but this is the online portal. I'm going to open up ClearStream 7.0 as well here. And I'm at a default configuration. So this is not configured with anything. It's a completely blank configuration. I'm going to just go ahead and start adding readers to this and show you how the subscription model works and how those states of the devices are reported back to the website. And for those of you who don't know, might be new to ClearStream and just checking it out, basically the concept here is on the source side, you add a device. This could be a UHF RFID reader. It could be a Bluetooth gateway, scanning for Bluetooth beacons, Cognex Bar Code scanner, anything like that on the source side. And the destination side is where you're sending that data when it's read. So in the case of a UHF scanner, on the source you have an UHF RFID reader, and on the destination you have maybe an ODBC database where you're sending the tag. So every time that device scans a tag, it sends it over to the destination. So before I get started, the first thing I need to do in my software is come up to the Tools Registration / Subscription option, click on the Registration / Subscription tab here, and now down below you notice the old perpetual license where you can enter a registration code, and then you would configure and manage all of your devices down here in this list, which once you consume or use one of those seats, you can't reuse it, or you have to retire the device and you can never unretire it. So I'll go ahead now and just enter my same username and password that I used on the website that I want to log in as, and enter my password, and then hit log in. And this will go ahead and log in successfully, or tell you of a failure if you enter the wrong password. But that's all I need to do now on my subscription form, and just hit done. So now I have my login credentials set for ClearStream. Still no devices configured, and the website is still empty on devices here because I haven't configured anything within the application. So let's go ahead and start making a configuration here and show you how the devices are entered into the portal. So first thing I'll do is I'll just select a destination really quickly. I'm just going to use the ClearStream RFID sample database. So it's an ODBC type. The data source is ClearStream RFID sample. And then for the destination, I'll first set up some UHF readers. So I'm going to go ahead and select the RFID tag list table. So this is my destination. Any RFID tag that's read on my source side will be posted to this RFID tag list, which is included in the installation of ClearStream. So if you do install the software, you would have access to this as well. Now on the device side, I'm just going to go ahead and click the devices button here and add some devices. I'm actually going to add two Zebra devices, I think, to start. I'm going to add an FX 7500 and a 9600. So I'll put in my 7500 first, which is at IP address 4.105. If I communicate with the reader successfully, it'll get the device ID. And this one happens to be an overhead portal reader. So I'm going to call it room 100 portal. This is one of those hanging Zebra readers with an FX 7500 in it. So I'll name it FX room 100 portal. And I'm just going to make some minor configurations here. This has 4 antennas in it. For the demo today, I don't want too many tags being scanned and sent over to the system. So I'm just going to reduce the power a little bit and just make some basic settings here. So I'm not scanning too many tags and reporting all of those to the database. So I have my portal 105 set up. I want to copy this, and maybe I have a FX 9600 that's on my desk here. And I'm going to call that the FX 9600 desktop reader. and that is at IP address 4.135. And basically the same thing. I'll just leave these settings. This only has one antenna, I believe, hooked up to it. So I'm just going to do the one antenna there, and this rest is the same configuration. So now I have two Zebra readers in this case added to my configuration. I'm going to go ahead and close this configuration. So the first one will be a portal scanning. So my portal scanning process here will be my room 100 portal hooked up to the RFID tag list. I'm just going to make a copy of this, and I'll call this one desktop scanning, because this is the 9600 I have next to me on my desk. And then I'm going to select the source, in this case, to be that FX9600 desktop reader. So I have two processes set up, both with different readers, both to the same location. I'm going to go over to the start-stop form here. Now, again, I still have no devices in here, but when I hit start all on this configuration, the readers will come up in the portal automatically as that system phones home, and they come up here. You can see they're in the started state. So I can see that it's currently online. I can see which reader it is, the room 100 portal versus my FX9600 desktop. It also indicates by the picture here which type of device it is. So if it's an alien reader or something like that, it'll pop up as the appropriate alien reader, so you can quickly see which readers are online, offline, or in error condition. So you can see there it's started. If I were to go ahead and stop all of these and look at the portal will immediately then reflect that they're in the stop state. So a little bit about the different states here on your portal. There's actually 4 different states for every device that you have configured. Yellow, like you see here, is when the reader is being reported by ClearStream, or the device is being reported by ClearStream, but not currently active. So it's not scanning for tags, it's not scanning for barcodes, it's not scanning for beacons. So it's in the stopped state. It's just not reporting anything to a destination database. However, it is configured within ClearStream here, and it is being reported from the system. Green, when you hit start all, green means the readers are currently active and scanning for tags. So when I hit start there, they'll switch over to green on the website. And I can see now, I know by looking at this portal that those devices are currently on, currently active. And ClearStream is also reporting that that's the case, because I can see the last scene is going up here. I know that the device is currently active within the system and reporting tags. Another state of these devices, if I were to close ClearStream, the devices will go into a gray state. And that means that the software ClearStream is not reporting their state at all. It doesn't know it because it's off in that case. But you would then, through the web portal, know that, oh, somebody closed ClearStream, or the PC is off, so it's not reporting what state the readers currently are in, which is that gray state. And finally, there's an error condition, which is a red state. So if I were to pull, say, the Ethernet cable on this FX9600, which I just did sitting next to me, this reader will go ahead and time out on the ClearStream side. And when that happens, it's going to report that state to the portal that it's been disconnected. Now, the disconnected just takes a couple seconds here while it's validating or checking that if it's still online. But it'll eventually go to, like you see here, this desktop reader, which I unplugged via the cable, went to desktop reader connection to device lost. If I slide over here, once it was reported to the web portal, connection to device was lost, attempting to reconnect. So it's the error condition for that reader indicating there's some sort of problem. So you can easily log into this on any device, your phone, a tablet, your PC, obviously, to see the different states, to know that there's an issue and go correct it if, say, your network's down. Now I just plug that cable back in, so ClearStream will reconnect with that reader automatically, putting it into the previous state it was in prior to that disconnection event, and then report back to the website that it started again. So I can see those different states of the reader. One is, again, ClearStream is offline and not reporting the state, so that's a gray state. And then you have the yellow, green, and red. Yellow being the reader's online, is being reported by ClearStream but not started. Green being on, and red being some type of error condition with the reader. So you can see quickly the different states of all of your devices in your system. Now, I thought I'd go ahead and actually add some other types of devices here, just so you can see how the portal reacts with different models of devices, because with ClearStream, we're really trying to open it up into different passive type data collection devices. So whether that be Zebra fixed RFID readers, Bluetooth gateways that are reporting beacons that are being scanned within an environment, barcode scanners, like when we added in 6.5, the Cognex Bar Code scanners for streaming barcode reads to ClearStream. Like Brad mentioned, we're looking at adding GPS devices that can stream GPS coordinates directly through ClearStream to a destination, and adding different custom devices so that a manufacturer can actually utilize ClearStream to stream data to wherever it needs to go with new endpoints on the source side. So just to illustrate that a little bit more, I was going to jump back into the devices tab here, and I'm going to go ahead and actually add an alien device in this case. And I'll call this one the Alien F800 reader. This reader is on IP address 192.168.4.138. That'll go ahead and connect to the alien reader. Same thing, I'm just going to add a single reader with a low power setting. And tag settings, I'm just going to do some tag settings here, so it's not reporting the same tag that's sitting in front of it 1,000 times, but just go ahead and configure that. Actually, while I'm in here, I'll go ahead and add some Bluetooth gateways. So I will go ahead and add a BLE beacon option to my list here. I have two menu readers that are set up, so I'm going to go ahead and select menu for this, and I have the MAC addresses available. So for the gateways, you just enter the MAC address into this MAC address field. I just want to scan for some iBeacons, so I'll turn off the Eddystone beacons and only scan for iBeacons in this case. I'm going to call this one Zone A. I'm going to copy this reader and do a Zone B. And I have another gateway with MAC address very similar, B5 instead of B9. And this one's going to be scanning for the iBeacons as well. So I set up two zone gateways configured. And I also have this Alien F800 reader. And then I will just go ahead and close this. I will duplicate another RFID reader for that Alien. We'll call it Alien scanning. Select the Alien reader as the source. Now I have an Alien reader in my environment pointed to the same RFID tag list database table. And I'll add a new one here for the BLE scanning, which we will change the destination in this case to ODBC. I'm going to use that ClearStream RFID sample. The sample contains a table called BLE beacon list, which captures all beacon information. And I'll call this one Zone A. Zone A scanning. I'm going to duplicate it for Zone B scanning. And just select the other source for this. B, and then actually this one I have to select Zone A. Okay, so now I have three additional processes here. I have an Alien F800 reader sending tags to the RFID tag list, and two BLE beacons scanning and sending beacons to that beacon list. So I still haven't started this, so if I look at my portal, it still only has those two readers there for the 7500 and 9600. I'm going to go ahead and start all here. Those will phone home, checking if they're allowed to come online. And if I look at the portal, they will be automatically added with the appropriate images for what types of devices they are. So I have the two Zone B, Zone A beacons. They're currently running. And I have this Alien F800 that's reporting tags as well to that same database table that the Zebra and the two Zebra devices are scanning for. So really, any device type that you add to ClearStream will take itself and register it in the subscription portal for you so that you can see its state and add it automatically. Now, this will happen up until you hit your license limit. If you try to add an additional license or additional device, at that point, it will indicate in ClearStream that there's no additional subscriptions available in order to add it to the subscription portal. And at which case, you could add additional licenses to this, or if it was in place of a new device, you would simply come over to the portal here. And let's just say I wanted to turn off this FX9600. I can go ahead and hit this pencil up at the top and go ahead and edit this device and make it deactivated. And then it'll deactivate that device. And if I go back to the dashboard, it will no longer be inside of the portal here, showing showing that it's not consuming a seat, and the seats went down to 4, and one of my zones is offline here. But now you can see I can use that on a new device and consume it with a different device. So you can manage those devices within the portal yourself, and then you'll see on this side, if you deactivate it, it will turn that device off automatically within ClearStream and say device is unsubscribed. So you could swap it out with a new device in your configuration. Okay, so that's kind of everything I wanted to show you with the portal. Maybe just a little bit more about it. You can add and remove the devices through the portal side. So if you didn't want to manage that through ClearStream, you can do it completely inside of the portal. You can view your users and devices on the View Users Device form. So you can see the different devices you have in the list here. You can also, for ClearStream Onboard, which is a new 7.0, or it has a new 7.0 feature for viewing the logs on those devices. So you can actually see the logs that are reported from an onboard reader to see if there's any errors or you have any beacons that, RFID tags that may not have been sent back to the portal. And that's new for the onboard portal as well. But you can manage all of your devices here. You can turn them on or off through this View Users and Devices tab. A couple maybe minor things to mention there for people that are familiar with our ClearStream Onboard product, which is a application that runs directly on a Zebra reader. You can now provision those readers yourselves using ClearStream 7.0, Onboard 7.0. You don't have to reach out to us with a claim code like you see up here in the top right-hand corner of the screen. As long as you have a seat available within the portal, you can add it yourself by just entering the MAC address for that device. You don't have to get a claim code from us. Okay, so let me go ahead and move that out of the way. I did just want to briefly touch on some of the other features in ClearStream. One of them being that group device type that I had mentioned earlier, where it makes it much easier to configure large numbers of devices. So I thought what I do for that is to kind of show you in the emulated environment how it works. So I'm going to just go ahead and start a new project. Let me just save what I have in case I have to come back to it. But I'm going to set a new project. I'm going to go to Tools, Virtual Site Survey, and create a, let's just say a warehouse with a bunch of readers. So I'll go ahead and add some floor space here. I'm going to add, I'll just do 4 readers. I'll add some antennas for these. Say 1 antenna per reader, and a tag container. So now I have 4 emulated readers in this case in the environment, but now just imagine you had 50 of these set up and you need to configure them all within ClearStream. And I'm going to show you how this is a lot easier in version 7.0. So I have my 4 readers. I'm just going to go back and start my new project within ClearStream. So I'll add a profile here, I'll add a process, and I'll add a destination first. I'll start by doing that. I'm going to do the same thing, the ODBC ClearStream RFID sample with the RFID tag list, because we're doing an RFID scan here in this emulated environment. But that's the destination side here. And then on the source side, what I have to do is I'll add my 4 devices, my 4 emulated readers. I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now at this point in the older versions of ClearStream, I would have to go ahead and configure these, but then I'd have to come through and start configuring sync processes for each one here. So I'd have to, if I had 50 or 100 sync processes and they're all the same, I really have to come through and configure each one of them appropriately for that device. So with this new group setup, what I can do is come back to the Devices tab and go ahead, add and select Group. And I'm going to just go ahead and give this a name, Warehouse 1. And now this is my group. And what I can do is I can set a, if you're familiar with the moderated tag events, I can set a single buffer for this entire group of devices. For now, I'll just, actually, maybe I'll turn that on. A buffer for all of these devices here. So effectively what that does is it takes all of the scans of these readers here, and it's going to send them to the buffer of Warehouse 1. And then that buffer for Warehouse 1 is the single buffer for ClearStream that you can report whether or not tags are visible. So you're almost putting all of these readers and making them an entire system that can report whether or not the tags are visible or not for the entire environment. And one of the neat things with this is, especially for Bluetooth gateways, if these were all Bluetooth gateways here, I can set it up in ClearStream so that the group can calculate which is the closest which gateway is closest to it. So I can see a beacon in my environment and which gateway is the nearest beacon. And I can do that through this group setup. All of the beacons that are scanned by these sub-child devices are sent to Warehouse 1, and then Warehouse 1 can be configured to report beacons based on how close they are to the different gateways that you have configured. But the configuration for this is just simple. I just go ahead to the device tab for my group, and I add each one of the devices that I want to be a member of this group here. I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then close it. And now I have my Warehouse 1 is mapped over to the RFID tag list here, and this is my setup, my field mappings down below. And one thing I do have to do, I'm going to change the key field to be EPC, since this is an RFID group. And then I just have to do my mappings. So now I can go ahead, maybe select EPC to EPC. Let's go reader name to reader name. And then I'll get rid of some of these other mappings here, tag event, EPC, TID, user memory bank. So we have reader to reader, antenna to antenna. Maybe the date time to date time. And maybe I'll just do the tag event as the last one. So now I've mapped to this entire group of devices. Now imagine doing this for 100 readers where you have to set these mappings for each one. This allows me to sync Warehouse 1 scans to destination or whatever. It allows me just to map Warehouse 1, every single reader in Warehouse 1 to the ODBC side on the destination. So then if I were to start up the warehouse, did I add the fourth one there? No, I forgot to add 4. So I add ClearStream device 4 to that group as well. Now, one thing that happens when you have a group is you just start the parent and it starts all of the children. And now I have all 4 readers on. And if I were to go to the different areas of this warehouse, it's going to go ahead and through that sync process, send the tag data to the destination. So I don't have to configure each one of those readers. Now, the reason I wanted to show this in the webinar today is it was a commonly requested feature for especially large installations of ClearStream because it just became, it took some time to set up each one of these sync processes for a reader. And like I mentioned before, imagine you just have to add a field mapping to 100 readers in this list. You have to go one by one through this list to go ahead and configure each one of them. So this group allows you to configure the group for those devices and map it to the reader just in this one sync process. And again, that's not the only thing you can really do with these groups. The groups actually act as a device themselves. So that buffer that they keep that is being populated by all of the child devices scans, you can add some logic to that, and it's especially useful on the BLE side for doing the zone type tracking. Then the last thing actually I'll mention is we do have that another request from users is the new endpoint for keyboard emulation. So if I were to set up keyboard emulation, maybe I'll do it for just one of these readers here. I would select the custom endpoint on the right-hand side. This has actually been relabeled. It used to be template, but we relabeled it to custom endpoint. You can select a report. I'll just select the keyboard wedge sample. And then the sender is going to be, rather than an email or a URL or to a web service, I'm going to go ahead and select keyboard emulation. And now basically it turns this emulated reader here into a keyboard for this PC. So anytime I were to scan a tag, it'll actually input that tag data and it's customizable to what it puts into that field wherever the cursor is on your PC. So this is good for like a workstation type fixed reader where you want to have a fixed reader set up next to a workstation and you want the user to be able to scan a tag and have it be input into maybe some customized form on that workstation for capturing that data. You would just select keyboard emulation there as well. And if I do the mappings here, this one's a little tricky to do with the reader name, to do with the emulator, because focus is on the emulator as I'm moving those tags. But if I were to go to the start stop, I can go ahead and open Notepad here. This comes in a little funny. You'll understand why in a second, but I'll go ahead and I'm just going to start up the one device there. And if I were to take this, the tag, and move it inside of that field of view of that reader there, you can see it typed that data out into Notepad. So you put focus there, and I just imagine this being a fixed reader. You put focus into that field, go ahead and move that in place. And when I put the cursor back over here, it types out the data that's now been customized based on the template that I selected. So it's not just putting the EPC, it's also putting there, you can see ClearStream device 1 and a date timestamp. And I have to go ahead and move this out of there to have it stop typing. So this was another requested feature from our users that we put into the release that allows you to kind of add fixed RFID to some type of Windows-based form, and it's especially useful at like a workstation for scanning tags. So with that, I think that's kind of the main features. Really, the subscription model is the main thing I wanted to go over with you guys today. I hope you found that useful, at least from your previous installations of ClearStream, and having higher visibility into the health of the system right through the subscription portal, seeing all the devices that you have configured in their current state in that system.
Just as to add, as we're doing new releases, it's if you are using ClearStream or a PTS Tracer Plus user, we're encouraging you to follow us on LinkedIn, follow the company Portable Technology Solutions RFID, and then that'll give you the big release information. And then if you follow ClearStream RFID or Tracer Plus RFID on LinkedIn, that'll give you more granular release information, just as we roll out these releases. Those that have been with us a while, you know, ClearStream is on a 7.0 release, but in between each major release, we always have minor releases with some really good features that people should take advantage of. And obviously Tracer Plus been around a little longer and has many new features being released at all times and new support capabilities.
Here's our contact information. If you do have any questions after the webinar today, you can please reach out to us here with either any questions that you might have or just feedback on the webinar as well.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just throw, I want to thank everybody as well, but if there are any perpetual licensees that see the advantage of moving to a subscription on ClearStream, you should talk to your ClearStream salesperson pretty soon, just to get everything in line for that transition. We're also going through that with Tracer Plus as we move people across. There's just a ton of advantages by being able to manage your users and your devices on your own without having to go through our services to get things changed. So we really encourage you to reach out and get ahead of the curve a little bit and talk to your salesperson before the release so everything's all set up. And again, thanks everybody for helping and sharing your ideas over the last 10 years of ClearStream. The product has come a long way, and we wouldn't have achieved what we've achieved to date without the very active user base that we have. Thank you.